Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about one of the things that we've seen happen in recent years with the evidence-based fitness world. And I'm not saying everyone who's in that community obviously fits this paradigm, because there are plenty of guys who are very, very knowledgeable coaches, very good athletes, everything else, who are in the evidence-based world. Okay, that's very, very clear that that's the case. However, what people need to remember, and this should be kind of what confuses some people, when you look at it, they don't actually have overall superior results. A lot of the bros and a lot of just even the strength coaches and everyone who have just learned things in the trenches, who don't read science at all, oftentimes have just as good a results. And oftentimes their clients, on average, sometimes have better results. Okay, and this should tell you something. That while the science matters, that just good programming and particularly hard work will actually get you a lot further. And I think what we see here, and I see plenty of cases of this, people who classify themselves as personal trainers, who even frequent online the circles of a lot of the evidence-based crowd, and they cite their studies and everything else. And I see quite a few of these guys, and I'm not going to call anyone out by name, who themselves, after years of training and using just the information there, and they link and cite all these different studies, they're still small and they're still weak. Now, a lot of people say, well, maybe their goal isn't to get big. Maybe their goal isn't to do this. But it's like, so why are they citing endless studies on maximizing hypertrophy? These are people who stand around talking about maximizing hypertrophy, who have themselves maybe only put on their first 10, 12 pounds of muscle. Maybe. Over a completely untrained person. Right? Not 20. They haven't finished out new gains. Not 25. There's people who've gained maybe 10 pounds of muscle, have a little bit of ab, oftentimes have no legs. You have no leg development either. And you'll see these same people like, well, I don't like to really train legs. I choose not to have big legs. Okay. But these are people who are trying to make their living as fitness professionals, and they don't want to train their legs. And anyone who understands the science and data and everything else is going to laugh at that, because why? Well, if we're trying to be athletic, your legs are possibly, for most sports, more important than your upper body. Now, that doesn't mean upper body doesn't matter. And in some sports, it matters more. Majority of sports, your lower body strength and development and performance is more important. How about for health purposes? Let's get over talk about these are people who are trying to be fitness professionals. For health purposes, your legs actually matter more. Now, you obviously want both. I mean, look at my back. Okay, you obviously want both. Realistically, if you really care about maximizing strength and performance and everything else, you need both. So what we see with these people is that they have no practical experience, and they're lazy. And it's just like we saw Alpha Destiny admit that. Even though people are like, oh, he trains hard and stuff, he admitted later, I skipped squatting and deadlifting, particularly squatting and legs, because I was lazy. He said that, like a year ago. Now, I don't know what he's doing these days, because I haven't been following YouTube at all this year. So I don't know what he's doing now. I'm assuming, because he made that admission, he's going on and squatting now and doing real leg work. I could be wrong. But he even admitted, look, guys, it was just me being lazy. And everyone who does that, it's just laziness. And here's your issue with that. It promotes a lazy mentality to other people. And when people try to use biohacks for everything, if I just follow this scientific literature, I'm going to get the best gains and I don't have to work hard. Right? And anyone who's been doing this a long time knows the problem with that. You don't have to work hard. Well, you're not going to get any results. And here's the unfortunate truth for you. And I'm someone who believes that we need to follow the science, by the way. I'm someone who believes in good programming. Understanding things like your maximum recoverable volume, understanding how all these different things work, how joint angle specificity works. understanding the different processes and how different things induce hypertrophy, right? This is important stuff. I think we should know this stuff. If we want to be good coaches, at least, we need to know these things. We need to understand these things. We need to be grounded in the science. But if you're lazy and you don't train that hard, maybe you put in 60% effort. Okay? You put in 60% effort, and that means skipping your legs and stuff like that too. That means you're doing 20% effort, 30%. So if you put in 60% effort on your upper body and you don't really train your lower body, that's 30% effort. And you look at all the scientific literature and you say, aha, here's this study that shows this is about what sort of set range I need for hypertrophy. This shows what sort of rep range I need. Oh man, here's this stuff on occlusion training, right? If this is what you're doing and you're putting in no effort, your bro who trains his ass off and doesn't read any studies and just trains really hard and doesn't make excuses, even if his programming itself isn't that good. Because I promise you, if you're reading studies, your programming is going to suck also, by the way. There is no studies out there showing what your best training programming is. This is stuff that's been tried and true and learned in the trenches for decades by elite coaches, elite athletes, everyone else, combined with some science. This it's pretty well understood. Like, I even have relatively strict, although somewhat loose in certain ways, programming. I have very specific guidelines and parameters I follow. And they're not my own creation. They're standardized templates used in elite athletes in a dozen different sports for maximizing strength and power. Okay? With tons of hypertrophy work thrown in. But the point is, your bro is going to beat you. He is going to get bigger and stronger than you are. Even if he comes in and does a bro split with a leg day and a chest day and all that nonsense, he is going to get bigger and stronger than you. In fact, even if he comes in and just trains his ass off 3 days a week, let's say he does a 3-day-a-week push-pull legs type thing, like a deadlift and back day and a bench day and a squat day and leg day, right? But he trains really, really, really hard. He is going to get bigger and stronger than you are with no programming, with no concept of rep ranges, with no concept of any of the research. He is going to beat you. He's going to be twice your size. And he's going to lift twice the weight you lift. Now, here's the issue with a lot of these guys, though. They have no practical experience. They have no practical experience. They have only studies oftentimes, and people would again say, well, maybe a lot of people want to reach what they've achieved. Okay, a lot of people want to just be lean and gain their first 10 pounds of muscle. Okay, that's fine. But you don't need any scientific data to do that. Right? And here's the other issue. They still lack the practical experience of how to get you there quickest. So if you're going to follow someone and you just want those sort of mediocre results, you should probably get them as quickly as efficiently as possible. These guys still don't have the experience to do that. Keeping in mind, some of these guys have been at this for years, right? They've made 6 months worth of gains over 5 years. And they've never learned anything. Or worst case, they're still noobs who've dug into the literature instead of getting in and getting into the trenches. And here's what I'm going to say when it comes to coaching and strength training and resistance training. In a perfect world, you want both knowledge and experience. But if you had to only pick one, experience will trump knowledge. I'm sorry, but it will. Okay, a coach who has 10 years of experience trying different methods, looking at what other coaches have done out there, and who's been in the trenches for a decade is going to have more knowledge, way more knowledge, and the ability to coach people better and get better results out of people, and probably even his advice is going to work better than the guy who gets his undergrad in exercise science, reads tons of studies, and gets a PT certificate, but has minimal experience himself doing anything serious and no real experience coaching. Okay? The guy with the experience versus the education is going to produce far better athletes and lifters. They're going to be dramatically better as a general rule. And that's just how it is, because experience trumps knowledge and education in this area. This is an applied science. In a perfect world, you're up to speed on the literature and what the best coaches in the world do. And you're in the trenches. That's the best case scenario. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.